Okay. Anthony, why it's okay to pay for sex?
Why it's okay to pay for sex.
Right. In a perfect relationship, the man never strays. But who's perfect? The next best thing to being faithful, a guy who admits to hiring hookers, Anthony.
Wow.
A lot of controversy with this article in Details Magazine. Yes, Jim Norton.
Just saying, it just seems like you have a real catch in your studio and you didn't know it. The next best thing to being faithful.
The next best thing to being faithful.
According to that article, and I agree.
Is paying for it?
Yep. I agree.
Let me read a little further.
All right.
A real catch.
Let me begin by stating I wouldn't dream of paying for sex. Never have, never will. The thought of $120 dollars worth of gentleman's relief at the local Thai massage parlor. Are the Thais doing the massages these days?
I wouldn't know, and I never paid $120. That's too obscure a number.
Unless it's before 4 on Sunday, in which case it's $92.50.
This guy's a riot.
Boy, we can only dream we could write for Details Magazine. In which case it's $92.50. Disgust me. Nevertheless, I have a very close friend who has indulged once or thrice. Thrice meaning 3 times. And I'd like you to consider the possibility that he isn't a complete loser. Maybe, just maybe, paying for a piece isn't as morally reprehensible as Lynn Cheney would have us believe.
Who's paid in here? We know Norton.
I've never paid.
Anyone ever in your history of...
Rich shows his wedding ring and says...
I've never paid either. Never paid. I never paid either.
I never paid because I always had a radio show.
I was...
You don't need to pay because you have a big, delicious Italian mule and
I was
really
just always
handsome.
Petrified.
I know he's paid. You have to. Anyone that looks like Curious George has to have paid for sex.
Jesus.
Jeez.
Wow. Can you turn around the phone screens because our ass-wife listeners are trying to distract us. We got to get to this today. All right. As Xaviera Hollander, remember her? The Happy Hooker?
Xaviera Hollander, yes.
Pointed out in The Happy Hooker, hiring a prostitute isn't all that different from stumbling through the dating maze. It's just a shortcut to getting the cheese.
Now, you know something? That is the thing I read that was like, okay, I see that point. Like, if you're not in a serious relationship and you're dating, you're paying for what amounts to sex. You're not looking for a relationship. You want to get laid. You go out, you're going to be spending money. It's just going to food or movies or a play or whatever the hell you're doing. You're paying money in exchange for sex, and it's not even guaranteed.
You're paying for the pre-show when you just want to get to the game.
Right.
In both cases, you're spending money to avoid having to do your own handiwork.
There you go.
Okay. Indeed, Hollander argues that the covenant between Working Girl and John is more honest. Neither party has to pretend it's about anything other than sex when you go to a hooker. Mm-hmm. Or as Charlie Sheen put it, this is a great line, you're not paying them to sleep with you, you're paying them to leave.
To leave.
That's when you're Charlie Sheen. When you're any one of us, you're paying for them to sleep with you. That's really easy to say when you're a good-looking guy who starred in Platoon and Wall Street. But girls who are with me want to leave. Idiot Charlie Sheen.
As quickly as possible.
Yeah, like we all have that problem. Well, but you know, the model didn't want to get out of my apartment.
Jim, you're out of your mind.
No, I'm not.
You've never been with a girl, and you just wanted to have sex, and she was still there, and you were trying to figure out how to get her out.
Yes. Yes, I'm just saying that that's not, I pay for sex. It's not like I have the option to get laid whenever I absolutely want to get laid.
Right.
And
okay.
Let me tell you something that a lot of people might not know. One of the highs in getting escorts, it's not necessarily the act or the finishing. The high is this. It's that knock at the door.
The risky business knock.
It's the looking through the keyhole.
When I was...
Are you kidding? Wait a minute, because now this is intriguing.
This is this.
And then do you all of a sudden go like, oh?
It's here. There's a woman there who will have sex with me if she's a stranger. And it's the look. What does she look like?
Hold on.
It's the look
Once
of the
again,
keyhole.
I could completely... I am so with you.
Look at Jimmy.
No, I am so with him again because Risky Business, when we were growing up, that movie was kind of popular.
Oh, but look what came to the door first.
You're so right. But it was that whole, oh, my God, sex has arrived at my door.
They walk in, they're wearing a skirt. They sit down on the bed. They usually have to call the agency. But you know, as long as you're not a complete pig, hey, how are you? It's okay to rub the leg. I mean, you don't go to becoming a pig because they have to make sure.
So you step right up and like, hey, how are you doing?
I know. Hey, wait, come on in. I'm very cool. I know, but I know I can touch them. I know that I'm looking at that beautiful body and those great legs and that beautiful ass, and I want to touch it. I can. It's okay. I love that. It's not just about the sex. It's about the control you get with it. And I'm not an abusive. I don't beat up on. I mean, I'm into.
Right.
I'm actually a pretty easy date when it comes to that stuff.
You hit on something because the whole Risky Business scene, it turned out to be a disaster. But when all of a sudden the ding dong, and he was all alone. His parents were away for the weekend. That was like a major turn on for me checking out that scene until it was that horrific sight.
It's the complete lack of being self-conscious. It's about taking off your shirt, not caring what your body looks like because you know she's beautiful, but it doesn't matter because the arrangement is money equals this. The arrangement's been fixed, so all this stuff is okay. That's what that's about. It's not just. I mean, you want to get, what you want to get. That's part of it, but it's certainly not all of it.
So you're all like, you hear the knock and you go like, oh, here it is.
Yeah, because you're patient.
Do you savor that moment? Like,
yes.
Do you do it slow and walk to the door and go, okay, what's this going to be like? Who's she going to...
Shower first, especially in hotels on the road, man.
It's kind of like opening up a birthday present from Grandma. You just don't know what you're going to get.
Dude, what does she look like? Look through the door. That woman is here to have sex with me for what I have in my pocket, which is money, and I'll give it to her.
Why isn't Ann standing today?
What?
Why aren't you standing?
Why everyone's standing? I didn't get the new standing thing.
I don't know. Lately I've been
always
standing.
stood. Mine works.
No, I'm the minority sitting.
Doesn't matter. You're great sitting, so
I can't really stand and do this
You're
program.
making us all uncomfortable.
No, he's not. I didn't even notice until you mentioned it.
Let me try to stand.
Oh wow! Now I'm free. No,
I don't
sit back down.
It looks like
I'm
confrontational.
standing.
Sit back down.
Yeah, right. What do you mean? I'm standing now. I can jump right down your throat, mother. Yeah, like Pharrell. Shake it in.
All right, everyone sit back down because now
everyone's sitting now.
I'm gonna sit too.
I can't.
Oh, someone's put a tack on my chair.
Or a whoopee cushion. Everybody thinks you did it.
Real Bronx cheer.
All right.
A raspberry.
Back to the article. All right. Frank Sinatra once asked his buddy Peter Lawford to score him a prostitute in Vegas on his wedding night.
Frank?
According to this article.
On his wedding night, he wanted a hooker.
And what do you want a hooker for? Asked an incredulous Lawford. You've got one of the most beautiful women in the world waiting for you upstairs. What are you kidding, Sinatra is said to have replied. She's my wife.
Oh, jeez. Oh, what a scum.
And can I touch on that point? They say that no matter how beautiful, I heard a comedian, I don't know who he is, I'm not stealing your bit, but it was an analogy he made, it was brilliant. That doesn't matter if you have a beautiful prime rib piece of steak at home, sometimes you just want a sloppy burger. And that's what it is. That's why when you have a beautiful woman...
A sloppy burger?
You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if your woman is beautiful, if she sleeps with you, whenever. It's not always about that. It's about just going out and doing something dirty.
When that sloppy burger knocks on your door, that rancid piece of beef.
You know what I'm saying, though? It doesn't matter. Like, well, he's got a beautiful wife at home, so what?
Right. A lot of the most beautiful women in the world have guys that have, I mean, look at what, Elizabeth Hurley.
Hugh Grant is what's his name? Hugh Grant.
Hugh Grant was married to Elizabeth Hurley.
Sex is not just about banging the hottest girl out there.
Right.
There's so many other levels to it.
It's about boredom at times. You hook when you're bored. You hook when you're lonely. I used to love talking to hookers when I dropped them off because I was lonely. This is years ago when I was like 19, 20. I would drop them off and just talk to them.
Did they charge you extra for the talking?
No, but
Shut up, little man.
Yeah. So, what do you...
Want to go to Great Adventure?
Diarrhea? Lonely nothing.
2 plus 2.
Did you use that voice?
Hi. I do.
Hi, you're a hooker.
I would go to dances where people were all socializing and never, ever meet girls.
Yeah.
So I would always go out and hook when I was done. That was my way of dealing it. Go out and meet somebody,
All right, a few
New Brunswick.
A few other points in this article we want to talk about. Nearly all men at one time or another have the urge to stray, according to Details magazine. Much better they should order off the fast food menu than a la carte from their wife's address book. Of course, in an ideal marriage, the husband never strays, but who's perfect? The next best thing, a hubby who only hires hookers. After all, what man is going to leave his wife for a whore?
But a hooker.
So instead
what about diseases?
So instead of sleeping, with your wife's friends, that could be all sorts of problems there. Obviously,
grab a hooker.
You grab the hooker, she leaves after you're done.
And diseases, I would say not all. Some hookers are filthy. Most girls that I've dated are cleaner than any girl you're going to meet in a club because you use protection for everything. Everything. The girl I had as a regular wouldn't touch without protection. Protection always, never wrong.
Yeah,
never.
What about like things like crabs though? That kind of they're gonna.
I suppose, yeah, but again, any girl you can get that from, and I don't go that far. I only go with certain things.
Can you get something
if
from?
She had crabs in her eyebrow,
wait.
I might have got them.
What do you mean? You don't bang?
Not in the car. Nah, it's too risky, man. The car, no. Bye bye. Thank you. My regular for 2 years, I never hit, never banged, ever.
Really?
In the car, if a cop rolls up, I'm not a maniac. Hello, officer. How stupid do you think I am?
I don't know what the rules are here.
No, in an escort, in your hotel room.
In your
yeah.
hotel,
Yeah.
all right. But when you pick one up off the street, it's just hello.
Dude, let me tell you something. All you girls out there that do the best you can, you little troopers. This girl, within 4 minutes, with a protection,
done.
What a girl.
Yeah.
What a gal. Polish. Oh, she's sexy.
Really?
Ooh. I really hope she hasn't gotten her life together, because I miss her. Jim, you need drugs? I'll get you some more drugs.
Yeah.
Jim, being the expert, I don't get... What could you possibly get from... can you say the handy or what?
What could you
from a handy?
Get,
yeah. Well, I don't know what they're going to do.
Erotic-wise or disease-wise?
Disease-wise.
I don't know.
From a handy?
Well, you said that you use protection for that.
No. I mean, to touch... Before they touch you, I mean, like when somebody's manipulating.
Hold on. Just follow my thing here.
Okay.
I need the handy.
Right.
She's there. Is she putting a glove on?
No, she's rolling something on. She's rolling it on.
No, he's saying if he just wants a handy.
No, because you mentioned that. Like, nothing gets done without protection, and I think you said something about even, like, a handy.
I didn't mean to say it was a handy, because I've never gotten one from a date, from an escort, nothing. Some girl tried to do that to me and said, that's the end of the date, just get out, I'll do it myself, stupid.
Right.
No, I don't know what they would
pretty
do.
ridiculous, like that scene from...
Yes, I know.
Animal House.
Where she put the latex glove on.
I mean, they don't even... No, I mean that there's like, you're on a date, there'll be like, touching and mutual manipulation or whatever. But in this situation... Any type of manipulation that person does to you is going to be with a barrier in between your skin and their skin.
Right.
So, and they may have to touch you for a second, putting something on, but that's it. It goes on immediately.
All right. So they're saying that, if a guy wants to cheat on his wife, it's better than going through her address book if he just goes to a hooker.
Right.
Okay. Then we move on in the article. Maybe I'm being a little flippant here. Aren't there some serious issues at stake? One of the more common objections to prostitution is that it's exploitive. The man is able to get the woman to have sex with him only because she's lower on the socio-economic food chain. She may not be forced into the transaction, but she's coerced all the same.
Yeah. That just sums up the beauty of it.
You might think there's something morally repugnant about a woman using sex as a commodity, but if you do, I hope you're consistent enough not to be ogling the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue or shopping the Victoria's Secret catalog.
And how about all the girls that use sex to get backstage to meet Motley Crue or Sabbath or whatever band they want? Come on. I mean, I don't want to see prostitution should be legal, so underage girls are not doing it and they can test the diseases. But if that's what you want to do, that's what you got to do. I mean, look, people steal for drugs. They do all types of awful things for drugs, so. Who am I to not get off?
All right, and the article ends with this paragraph. Of course, I'm merely speculating, but my very close personal friend tells me that some of his happiest sexual experiences have been with hookers. Apparently, they're honest, straightforward, and non-judgmental, which is more than can be said for most respectable romantic partners. He sincerely hopes that one day he may be able to discuss these matters openly without worrying about public censure.
Well, then have some courage and just tell the truth.
On a radio show in front of 18...
I don't care. Yeah, big deal. It's the world's oldest profession. I didn't start it, and long after I'm dead, they'll still be doing it. If there was no market for it, hookers wouldn't exist.
Well,
Why not chicks walking around smashing people in the chin with hammers for money? Because there's no call for it. If there was, that's what they'd be doing. Hey, would you smack my chin with a hammer for $50? Sure.
You're right. There's enough of a market for it, that's for sure.
That's all it's about.
Watching that Hunts Point special on HBO? Oh, my God.
I've always been open about that. That guy who's all ashamed. Well, then he might be married. He's married, right? But You know, I don't want people to know at the office. See, I get a Hummer from a stranger for money. Sorry, I'm not raping somebody's bank account. You understand what I mean? Does that make sense? Like, you know... I'm sorry, go ahead.
And then it ends. In the meantime, though, he'll have to keep his credit card receipts to himself.
Pay on a credit card. I actually had an escort service try to charge me about $10,000 extra. They tried to rip me off.
Are you kidding?
No, I would never joke about escorts.
So what do?
You call and go, look, I got an escort, and they're trying to rip me off. I was right up front with the people in the credit card company. I don't care what they think.
Right.
Nah, who cares? 18% interest? Hey, whore, fix this.
They probably assume at the escort service, if it's not reputable, that he's not going to complain about it because he's embarrassed.
Well,
and they picked the wrong guy when that's concerned.
They're tangled with the hooker kid.
$10,000. I did her A, and they charged me $10,000 for it. Can you help me out here?
$3,000,
Visa?
an extra $5,000 on one. It was an extra $8,000 total plus the...
So Visa, I blew snot in her face, right?
Yeah.
And they're trying to claim.
Yeah. And believe me, eating the A is not priceless. It's $3.50 according to her.
Hey, Mike, what's going on?
Hey, Norton, you talk like it's so normal and like it's no big deal, but don't kid yourself. You are the biggest loser going, and you should kill yourself.
And?
Just kill yourself.
For what?
Because you're a loser.
But, yeah, that's been established a long time ago on this program. What I'm saying is, what makes you say that now? Because I like hookers?
Yes.
So you have a girlfriend or you're married?
Married.
Exactly. So I'm a loser because I'm banging different chicks, and you're banging the same one.
Yeah.
All right, well, you win. Same girl for the rest of your life. Oh, that's better than a whole bunch of different ones. You're right, sir.
I think you shut him up.
All right, let's go to Joe.
What are you talking about?
Do you get Sky Miles when you pay for hooker?
I would love to
Sex
be able
Miles.
to. No, I only go Continental.
Joe, what's up?
Yo,
Hey.
listen, they're talking about, the problem with all of this, but if you really think about it, you got a woman that you're married to, you love, she's gorgeous, and you love being with her all the time, but there's certain things that she doesn't do. What's the problem with going and getting it taken care of and then, going your separate ways?
Like the point you bring up is the Hummers.
Exactly.
If she doesn't want to do that anymore, why not then go to a hooker to get that part of your pleasure?
Precisely. No, you can't force her, Norton.
Dude, I'm not saying to cheat either. To me, if you make the commitment to get married,
right,
you better make sure that that's the right person and that you're both compatible in every way. I'm not married. That guy that called before I'm married, hey, if you're happy with the one person, they do whatever you want, whatever you do what they want, good for you. I haven't found that, so I'm going to keep paying for it.
Yeah,
that's why I don't get married, because I'm a pig.
True, but still, I mean, there are certain things like...
How could you marry a chick that won't drink out of your mule? Every time I looked at her, I'd want to belt her in the mouth. Every time she ate food that I paid for, I'm like, you mind using your mouth for that, do you, stupid? Every time she drank a milkshake, I'd want to throw it on her back.
At the same token, then you don't do back for her then.
But you see, dude, that's the difference. I love doing that.
So do I.
Right.
Maybe me and you could get together.
What do you say?
Love you, Jimmy.
All right, Joe.
Angel.
Bye.
If you're on hold, stay there, but we got to go right to the hotline.